guys, so somebody messaged to ask me to share on some of the specific things that I'd done that helped to come out of the dark night of the soul, or helped while I was in the dark night of the soul, that happened to help me come out, right? When I was doing them, I didn't know I was in the dark night. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I was in hell. There was no light at the end of any tunnel. It was just darkness, and I didn't know where to start. There was just so much. It was overwhelming. So I thought I'd make a few videos, because it's too much to squeeze into one, on some of the tools that I'd used and how they'd helped me. The first place I'm going to start is at chakras. The reason chakras helped me wasn't because of any of the energetic properties, because I had no exposure or understanding of any of that. I didn't believe in any of that at the time. But I did see the value in using them as a map of consciousness, a map to kind of give me bite sizes, on dealing with different elements or different parts of myself, and kind of pointing me in a direction bit by bit, because of course the whole thing is like, where do you start? It's too much. So I started with the root, and I will just give a little bit of information on how I'd use them. So for me, it was basically grounding myself in my body, in my reality, and feeling safe to be able to take care of myself. How this came to my attention was that after my marriage had ended, I realized that every part of who I believed myself to be at the time, everything I loved about myself at the time, was grounded in my partner. It was because I loved who I was when I was with him. So my future was, and I made this mistake again, was centered around who I was with him. And so when the relationship ended, I died. That part of me died, because he wasn't there anymore. So I had to learn, which I had to learn again, to ground myself, in who I am. So that was the first place, is who are you in this body at this time, outside of your relationships. And this can also be your relationships with your family. And then moving up to the sacral, it had me looking at my emotional body and giving myself the opportunity to express myself in ways that I hadn't expressed myself in a long time. And then of course, through allowing that to move, I started expressing myself in new ways. Painting, writing, poetry, which was very unlike me. But dancing was the thing that I had kind of, shut down to. So when I started working with this chakra, I started allowing myself to move freely again, in my apartment where nobody could see me. Though I did, I was partying a lot, and that was a different kind of dancing before I started this journey. But allowing myself to move in a way that my body wanted to freely move was different. So, excuse me. So moving my body helped. Moving up to the solar plexus, it was really questioning who I believe myself to be. My ego. How was I injured? How did I play small? Where did I limit myself because of fear of judgment? And I started to explore that, and I, started to allow myself to express myself in ways that I, was too afraid to do so in the past. Coming up to the heart, forgiveness was the hardest thing that I had to do back then. Was not just forgiving the people that had hurt me, but also forgiving myself. That was so hard. Forgiving myself for hurting others, and really not realizing how I'd hurt them, because I thought I was so right in my words and my actions. But starting to reflect on, you've actually also hurt people. Forgiving myself for that, but also forgiving myself for abandoning myself, for not loving myself, for not taking care of myself and learning how to love myself again. Then coming up to the throat, where have I squashed my voice? And this was a big thing for me. It's still a big thing today. You can see with all the videos I'm making now that, okay, Simone's throat is finally opened. It's been so hard, to express myself for the past year and a half. And a lot of this was also connected to coming home and the old patterns repeating. Also the new relationships that I was finding myself in, a lot of it was connected to childhood wounding. Also, they were cosmically aligned in terms of bringing the next degree of expansion, the next degree of awakening, the next degree of healing. So it was much more than just karmic in a sense, But where have I not been able to express myself? Where have I kept my voice small? My opinions about life, about reality, about right and wrong. Where have I squashed my voice? It's a big thing for me. And that was also connected to your ability to manifest, right? So what kind of reality are you manifesting? You're manifesting this tiny little squashed reality that you're dissatisfied with because you're not using your voice. So the two are really connected, the throat and the sacral chakra. This was actually what got me to make this video, was the realization of how vocally expressive I felt, and how creative I felt at the same time, how the two are so connected. And then coming up to the third eye, and this was a big one for me. I still carry this affirmation for years. This one will always stay with me. I see things as they are and not as I imagine them to be. Now, it's not always easy to do that, to practice that. But basically what you're doing is questioning the truth of every thought, every situation, every emotion, right? The reason I feel this way is because I believe something to be true. What story am I telling myself about this situation? It really makes yourself question the truth of your thoughts and the truth of the situation in front of you, essentially, right? This person is offending me in some way. Are they really? Or is there something that I am holding within me that says they shouldn't act this way? They should act according to what I think is right, right? So that helped me to rip down the walls of the illusions that this limited self had created. Not always easy to do, but really, really beneficial on so many levels for liberation of your mind and your emotional body, if you're able to really seriously practice this and get it right. And then the crown, basically just connecting to the universe. I am not just this tiny little body. I am not just this ego. I am not just my past experiences. I am God in ecstatic motion. That's a quote, I think, from Michael Singer. It could be. I can't remember exactly where that's from, but I am God in drag. I think that is Eckhart Tolle's one. I could be switching the two. But basically just realizing that all is one and living accordingly. And if I can see God within myself, I can see God within every person, in everything. And how can I possibly judge another person or another thing if God is within them all? And so living with this sense of oneness, this mind of oneness, unity consciousness, working my way up. At first it starts off, kind of like intellectually, where you are intellectualizing everything. You're not living it, you're not feeling it yet. But eventually you start to feel it, you start to connect with it, you start to have experiences that reflect it back to you. And yeah, so use chakras. You can start there as a map of just kind of like a guiding light, rather, to give you bite sizes of where to go next. That's my little nugget for the day. Just about to go into my yoga class, feeling really really good. Feeling really good. Wishing you guys a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weekend, and I will see you guys soon. Much love.